Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Office Bloke Daz.
I'm Gaynor.
Here we are, two of us, doing the love and hates of visiting England.
Yes.
Bit of Walter's World.
What do you think the hates are going to be?
The love and hates of the weather.
Weather, yeah, it's rain.
Yeah, it's the only real thing I can think about really hating somewhere to go.
Yeah.
That the weather's not, you're not guaranteed weather.
No.
Like if I go to the USA in the summer in certain states, I know I'm guaranteed warm weather.
Yeah.
Or if I go to certain parts of the world in certain months, you're kind of guaranteed.
Yeah.
You come to the UK, you're never guaranteed anything. You can't even plan a cookout or a barbecue or anything like that.
I feel sorry for people who are getting married.
Yeah, that's the other one as well. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
The way I'd see it is
Don't get married in April in England.
Well, the way I'd look at it is I'd look at the dates, like for the past 5 years, and see if certain dates have been dry, and then go for them dates if I was going to choose something like that. But let's see what Walter's World got to say. And Mark from Walter's World's got to say about the love and hates of visiting England.
Love it, love it, love it, love it. I love it. And I don't know why people wouldn't love coming to England.
Cotswolds.
Yep.
Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Walter's World, and today we're in Stratford-upon-Avon in England. And today what we have for you are 5 things you're going to love and hate about visiting England. And since I'm standing here filming in the rain, I'm just going to talk about it now. Probably something you're not going to like too much about your time when you come to England is actually the weather. Now, the thing is, if you come in the summertime, you'll probably get sunburned. They have sun in the summer, not a big deal. But the problem is, if you come like in the fall or the winter or in May, you're going to get wet. And that's normal. It's okay. Bring the umbrella, buy it from the person on the street, but just know it's gonna be a wet time, at least part of the time when you're here. So even if it's a sunny day forecast, throw a little poncho, throw a little jacket with you so you can cover up, because that's one of those things, people get upset about the weather when they're here, but it's England. That's why it's green. That's why it's beautiful when you go around and see the village, you go to the Cotswolds, you go all the places. You think I'm joking about the sun you can get here in the summertime and the spring.
Do you know what I always love is when people like Walter's World's probably one of them as well. They do it. It's the only show like the little quaint villages.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? When I've seen him in the UK before, he's done like Chester, York, places like which are really really cool like medieval villages. Yet you go to like if you go to like the centre of Manchester, or something very very different.
Yeah.
You know, the centre of Liverpool, places like that.
I'm not. I have sunblock because look, the sun, it does come out here. So if you have sensitive skin or whatever in the summertime, don't forget the SPF. Yeah, it's banana boat. Yeah, it's 50. But you know what? When you have sun that long, especially in the summertime,
50.
You don't realize it whether you're exploring Stratford-upon-Avon or London or wherever. See? I even brought some. So, weather. What you gonna do? But yeah, the weather, probably something you're not going to really like super much when you're here, but honestly, you won't care because one of the things you're going to love when you come here are the villages when you go out and explore. Going to the Cotswolds and walking, Cotswolds Way, and you start seeing all the little villages and the cottages, the thatched roofs, and the limestone that's there. It's gorgeous. Or you go into a city like York, and you're seeing the history of the York Minster going up, and you're like, wow, that's amazing. And you're just going around to the different villages, different towns, going to Chester. I mean, there's so many different places you can see. Like, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about all the historic cities you can see, all the museums you can go to, all the history you can take in.
Liverpool.
And it just comes down to those villages and those cities where you really can have a great time. And that's why I tell people, like, don't just stay in London when you come to England, because there's so much more to see. I'm soaking wet enjoying this country, okay? And because seeing those small towns, seeing those villages, coming to Stratford with all the thousands of students that come here to go learn about Shakespeare from school, it gets overrun with tourism sometimes. But honestly, these villages around the country are gorgeous to see. Whether you're in the north, you're in the south, the Midlands, anywhere you go, you're gonna find a beautiful village. So hit up that pub, hit up the local museum, talk to the locals, you will love it. All right. And another thing you're gonna love when you come here is your B&B experience. Now, when you go to the bed and breakfasts in England, they do it right. Like, you go there, and we've stayed in smaller ones, we've stayed in medium-sized ones, but honestly, we've got to meet the owners, talk to them, get advice from them, The breakfast, when they make that full English breakfast for you, you can't go wrong with the sausage there, the eggs, and the tomato. You're like, how do you cook a tomato? It's so good. The mushrooms, even the beans. I mean, you go there, and the experience of being in a historic home. And I'm going to tell
Mark gets excited about the British breakfast or the full English breakfast, like I do with Philly cheesesteak.
Yeah, I know.
He's got the same excitement about being over here as I have going to the USA.
At least he loves the beans.
Yeah, I know, right?
you, if you get a chance, go stay at a historic property, one of those places as your B&B. You can't beat it. Because honestly, the B&B experience here is significantly better than the hotels or Airbnbs because it really gives you a part of the culture and it really helps you to enjoy some of those smaller villages. Because sometimes
it's like when we went to Vermont, I loved the wraparound porches and the breakfasts.
Yeah, they were like small boutique hotels that we sort of stayed at. They weren't really, I wouldn't classify them as B&Bs.
No,
I know what you mean though. They're more like they were like smaller like hotels. The B&B over here is very different to what you get because it's like a B&B over here. You'll get like a communal like living area where people congregate. So like with the TV, it's not like might have a little bar in there, but it's small. It's like a house that's been converted.
Yeah, but the one we stayed in was only 6 bedrooms.
What, in Vermont?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But it's very different to the B&Bs over here.
Oh yeah, they are.
Yeah, the B&B over here will be very like he says, you can sit with the owners in the evenings and stuff like. We got friends who own a B&B, and that's what they do. It's like people go in there and they stay, and it's like you get your bedroom and your bathroom, which is separate, but you don't really sit in your bedroom and bathroom when you come back home to watch. You won't sit in your bathroom anyway. You don't sit in your bedroom to watch TV like you would in a hotel room. So like at the end of the night, you can just chill in like the living area.
Yeah.
So I think, but there might be other guests in there as well.
Yeah.
It's got like I say a small little bar, maybe.
Yeah.
Don't know, like little corner bar, but then it's pretty cool though, still, isn't it?
You stay in someone's house.
Yeah.
that's your only option when you're there. And I will tell you, if you're going to be going to places here in England during summertime and there's a place you want to have a B&B at, book it as early as you can because you don't want to turn that love of the B&Bs into an experience you don't even have when you come here. And I think another thing that people might not like so much about coming to England, and honestly, this isn't as big of a problem as it used to be, is the slightly pricier nature of traveling around England. And the thing is, when I say travel around England, like if you stay in the hotels, you go out to eat, you notice it's a little bit more expensive. But if you're taking the trains, you really start to notice the expense going a bit more and the public transportation versus other parts of Europe. But honestly, with how inflation's been the last few years, England's got more expensive too, but Europe has caught up. So it's not like it's cheaper, it's just relatively not as much more expensive. But it is something I want you to know when you come here. But I will tell you that. You notice I talked about the B&B experiences and going out and exploring the villages and the hikes and all these kind of things. One of the ways you can really control your costs when you come here to England is don't just stay in London. London it's one of the most expensive cities in the world. But if you go around and you go to places like Chester, or you go to Liverpool. I mean, why do people diss Liverpool? It's a fantastic city, fantastic people.
Really
Scousers for life, my friends, right? And that's what you're going to see. It's like, my goodness, going out there and exploring, it is more, but it is worth it. But once you get out of London, the prices come down a lot. That's why I like going to the north of England, because I can go there, I can save a lot of money. The people there are helping me find better deals on things too, because they're so fun. And so you can do that. So it doesn't have to break your bank. But I know for a lot of travelers, that's one of the things they don't like and it scares them off is the pricier nature. So I got to put that as a hate. But honestly, it's not as bad as it used to be. Now, going back to the loves, and one of my favorite parts of coming to England is pub life. Now, you may say, Mark, pub life, what are you not?
No one loves pub life more than me.
I know.
I'm the king of pub life. I really am. I love it. It's I don't know what it is. I just love the whole atmosphere and the ambience behind a pub.
The friendliness.
You can go. It's very different anywhere you go in the world. You don't really get the same pub life you get in England or Britain than you do most. I mean, you do in Germany as well. I do feel it's sort of like that thing, Germany, Belgium, places like that. But that's about it. The rest of it's kind of bar, Ireland as well. It's the same sort of thing, isn't it?
Now, beers all the time, having the pints, well, there's that part of it, but it's the idea of the pub life kind of culture you have here, whether it's in the villages or the cities. Because if you go to the smaller towns, sometimes the local pub is where everything happens. That's where you're going to have your dinner, you're going to have your lunch. It might be where you're staying as well, right? And so you have that. But also, even if you go to the cities, like I've met so many fun people when I was in Liverpool, just having a pint, talking to the bartender, having a pint, talking to people that are there. And it really gives you a chance to get to know the people when you're here. But the thing is, that whole experience of getting having them pump the ales for you, right? They're pulling it for you, right? That's kind of a fun thing. But just the whole experience of going to the pub, maybe listening to music there, or just take it in, or spending your evening there talking to your friends. It really is like one of those things you're like, yeah, I understand why people love coming here, because it helps me to really relax and focus and just have a good time. And that whole vibe of the pub life, you can't go wrong with that. Though there is some things that might go wrong with it, because that's one of the things I'm going to say you might not like about coming here. It's if you're in the bigger cities or some places and it's a Friday or Saturday night and the lads had a few too many and maybe their team didn't play so well in footy. Yeah, that might be something you don't like too much. So if you're going to be going out, do pay attention. Because in general, England's a safe place. I'm not going to deny you that. But I will say, if you're in the bigger cities, you do need to pay attention more to like pickpockets, and you need to pay attention more to little rowdinesses here and there. So do be aware. But just your usual travel common sense will do you well when you are here. But since there's so many tourists, since there's so many people, the scams, the tourist traps, they do come here. And I have videos that talk about those to help you out. But it is one of those things I kind of want to bring up. And if I want to really talk about something you're really going to hate, but you're going to hate it because it scares the living bejesus out of you, it is that first time you had your near-death experience crossing the road when you're here in England. Because remember, you look right and then left and then right again. Unlike if you're back in the US where it's left then right then left, because they drive on the left side of the road. And so you need to be ready for that. And I can't tell you how many people I've seen almost get hit. I actually have seen people get hit. And actually I saw 2 people get killed in London once because they get literally hit by a truck. It was horrible. And I don't want that to happen to you. So that's the thing I got to say. It's a hate because people don't think about it. They just walk out looking the wrong way and bam. So don't let that happen to you. But that's something you're not going to like is that whole scariness. And I'm going to kind of put that in another kind of dislike with that, because once you realize that you're better off, is that first 30 minutes, 40 minutes of driving in England. Look, if you want to explore England, you really need to get a car. Now, you can take public transportation to a lot of places, but to really get to see it and control your own destiny when you're here, outside of like, London and Manchester and Liverpool and big cities, you need to have a car because it helps you explore more and it's fantastic. But that first 30 minutes, when you're leaving the airport, you're trying to get on the highway, the M, and you're like, okay, what am I doing here? And you're like trying to figure out which direction everything's going. And then you hit that first roundabout. You're like, how do I turn right? Because I can't turn right there because they're all going this way. How do I merge and turn at the same time? Like, it's a scary moment. And that's why it's something that tourists don't like. That's why I tell you, relax. It's not that bad. After a few minutes, you get used to driving on the left side of the road. You get used to having the stick shift here on the left. You get used to, merging on the traffic. And yes, you do get used to pulling off into the hedgerows, to let other cars go by when you're on those back roads. But yeah, those first 30 minutes, they're a little bit hair-raising your first time. After that, you're totally fine with it, okay? You'll get used to it. You'll have a good time. Though there is one part of the driving that will never have a good time, and that is how effective the cameras are on the motorways and on the roads here. Look, everywhere. If there's a bus stop coming up, you need to get over because you may think, oh, it's only for this bit and there's nobody there and I'm in the middle of nowhere. They'll get you with a ticket. Take my word for it. It may be a year later or 6 months later. There'll be a letter that shows up at your house from Europa Car or whoever saying, oh, by the way, you owe 65 pounds. By the way, you owe 200 pounds because of this. Right? So do be aware. So you see the camera things, take it to heart. Obviously, when you drive anywhere, follow the rules of the road. But honestly, that's one of those things that you're going to love driving around the country. But that first bit, it's a bit scary. Now, the love of England that people don't usually think about when they think of England is actually the nature and the beauty of the countryside of England. So many people come here and they just think of, London or cities like here in Bath or Manchester for the football. But they don't think about the countryside of England. I mean, there's so much beautiful nature when you're here. Going to the Peak District, going to the Lake District, driving through the Cotswolds. I mean, this country is actually gorgeous. Go to Kent, the Garden of England. I mean, you have these beautiful coastlines as well. There's so much natural beauty here that you can take in that people never really think about it. That's why it's so nice when you do drive around, you take in the country, you see so much more than the cities. And the thing is, even if you can always see the cities, well, you know what? You'll find public gardens like this that you can go to and you can check out. Or you go to those stately manor homes. They always have the fantastic gardens that go along with it. You can see those. And that's one of the things I really, really love about coming here is seeing all that nature that you do have and do enjoy when you're here. So please, don't just stay in the cities. Go into those countrysides and see the beauty of England. Because honestly, you'll start to understand why there's so many beautiful TV shows. You're like, oh, it's so pretty. Oh, it's so quaint. Yes, because England, the countryside is beautiful here. You're going to love it. One thing, when you are driving around, the locals will be super helpful. If you do get lost, you're not sure where to go, or you don't know where the parking spots are. And that friendly nature of the locals here in England is why that's one of the things you're going to love. Meeting the English people, hanging out with them, having a pint, talking to them in the stores, seeing them on the streets. I mean, they are talkative people. Like, you can actually have conversations with them. I've spent time in Scandinavia where it's like, I heard no voices for 2 weeks. What's going on? I mean, you have people that are willing to talk and willing to share. And that's one thing I love about it. No matter what town I've gone to in England, I've been coming here for like 30 years, people. I've always met somebody that was super helpful and super informative. And
I agree with that. It's one of our strengths, I would say. Especially the further north you go as well. It becomes more friendly. I think the people down in the south are not as friendly as the people in the north. Yeah. And I think one city he always misses out when he talks about coming to the UK. Newcastle. Yeah. I think it's a great city. Yeah. And so's Leeds. I know you mentioned certain towns like that, but if you go in, you can do Liverpool, Manchester, Leeds, Newcastle in a weekend, pretty much. don't know what you won't get every night in one, obviously, because it's four major cities. But if you went Liverpool, Manchester, Leeds, Newcastle, it's all on the same route pretty much. Newcastle's a little bit further up, but it's definitely worth spending a few days going through that. And that route going from Liverpool east coast to west coast, or west coast to east coast, sorry, is a great drive as well.
Yeah.
You know, the M62, you come off Leeds, and Leeds is a great city as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's but he always fails to mention Newcastle.
Yeah.
Don't know if he's not been there or whatever,
Yeah.
but I've never seen anything about Newcastle.
not.
But it's a great city as well, really is.
Told me, Mark, you should go here instead of here. Mark, you should eat there instead of there. Oh, if you want to go see a site, go at this time because it's too busy there. Mark, if you're going to come here to Stratford, don't come on the holidays because that's when all the kids come and their parents come and the school groups come. You want to come at times where it's not so busy. I'm like, all right, thanks. And that's what you love about it, that keep calm and carry on, that politeness, the thank yous, the fantastic line culture they have here where things happen and things get done. It takes time, but it's a process that works. But it comes down to those people you have here in England, and they're fun. I played basketball with them in China. I played football with them in Germany. I've driven around the US with them. I mean, you're gonna have a good time when you're here because the people truly are nice and they're truly special. And the thing is, they want you to enjoy their country because they love their country. So whether they're talking about, Kent is the Garden of England, right? Or they're talking about, Liverpool, you're gonna head up, no, those Scousers, don't forget to hang out with them. And they'll give you a fun nickname that you probably can't repeat on your YouTube channel, but they will. And that's just one of the things you're gonna love. So to my Scouser friends up there in Liverpool, you know I love you. My friends down in Kent, you still mean the world to me. I just want to say, you can't go wrong when you're hanging out with the English people when you're here. Now, I know some people around the world are not big fans of the English and kind of stuff, but I'm talking as a tourist. When you are here, you can't meet English people that are helpful, kind, polite, and are happy you're having a good time in their country, all right? So that's something I really love about coming here. And so please, let me know, what are the things you love about coming to England? I mean, as you can tell, the water is getting on my camera, so I gotta hide around here. Ooh, are those ghosts? I don't know, could be the ghost of Hamlet, I don't know. We don't know. But I wanna say is, what are the things you love and hate about coming to England?
Yeah, he's good the way he gets excited about it, all that sort of thing. And I've seen him do a few different. I watched him doing was it Latvia and things like before we went to Latvia. I actually used him as a bit of information before we went.
Guide,
but he's right about the UK. Everything he says there about England, he's bang on. I think.
Yeah.
Don't know, one thing you will hate is the weather. It is very wet.
Yeah.
Not all year, but for, we get dry spells for a couple of weeks, and a rain will come in again because we're an island in the So like sat there waiting to be pissed on.
We're very green.
We are very green, yeah, and it's but it is if people are friendly. Like I say, if you got a question, we've met quite a few people who watch the channel as well. Who've come over to the UK, and I always say, where are you going next? Try here. But a lot of people have already planned it before they get here.
Yeah.
But if anyone wanted any information on what's the plan, we'd definitely give them good information. But we're more northern based.
Yeah.
We'll give you places in the north. Down in the south, I couldn't say where the best places to go are.
No.
I could tell you the best places around London and where to avoid and where to go and all that.
Yeah.
And maybe a little bit in the Cotswolds, a little bit in South Wales, but not
Birmingham now, because
Birmingham I know quite a bit about, but nothing down. If you want to go down in the like Hampshire and Dorset and places like that, I have no idea.
No.
Yeah, don't know anything about them areas. Too far for me to go.
Yeah, Cornwall and Devon are stunning.
Yeah, I've never been. Somewhere we should probably go, but again, people tell me it takes me 8 hours to get there. That shouldn't be an 8 hour trip. I just haven't got the patience to sit in traffic for that long.
You have to go during the night.
Or get on the train or fly.
Yeah. Fly.
But anyway, there's the love and hates of visiting England from Mark from Walter's World. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget, like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Cheers.